that's the beauty of recovery. It's not a secret. It's not some, recipe that you have to be a certain club to get into. It's available and it's free for everyone, but nobody can make you do it. It's up to you to get to that choice, to surrender, whatever you want to call it, to get there.
Welcome to the Confident Podcast. I am Lisa Tarkington, your guide to mastering confidence and leadership. As a business and life coach, keynote speaker, and the driving force behind LEAD, I am here to help you break free from self-doubt, silence the imposter syndrome, and step into your power as the person you're meant to be. If you press play today, it's because you're ready for something bigger. Each week, I'll bring you real, raw conversations and actionable insights that will empower you to redefine your leadership, reclaim your confidence, and transform into the unstoppable force you've always known that you could be. This isn't just another podcast. It's a journey we're on together. So buckle up and let's dive into this transformation. Your next level awaits. Hey, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Confident Podcast. I am Lisa Tarkington, and this is part two of the episode where we are going to be talking about becoming sober. The stories of Adam, Marc, and Peter, three individuals in my life who have just been so inspiring. And if you haven't listened to part one yet, please head over to the podcast to check that out before we dive into today's podcast, because it's just kind of keeping the conversation going. We had so many great things to talk about, so much to elaborate on, and I really wanted to have a real, raw, and inspiring journey for all of you guys to hear. And these guys brought it. And I appreciated their honesty. I appreciated them just sharing with you some really great resources, advice, how they got to where they are today. And if you meet these men in public, if you see them on social media, you can see that they're doing very well for themselves. But that wasn't always the case. They all struggled in some way, but all of their stories are very relatable to many. And so what I want to do with this episode is really just take you into part two so that you can really learn more about their journey. So let's dive into it. So obviously we're on the Confident Podcast. And so did drinking be affected? Did it affect your confidence and self-love? Was it a reason why you did certain things that you lacked it? Like, any elaboration with that piece?
I mean, yeah, like alcohol has this wonderful side effect of making you feel confident all the time, And that was one of the reasons I was drinking a lot, was because I just didn't like myself, and I could drink at night to make all those feelings go away. In relationships, it kind of creates this false sense of intimacy with other people you're drinking with, and you think you're having this close, emotional, good time with this person, but it's not there when the alcohol's not there. So once you get sober, you realize you've got to go after those things for real, and without any help from substances or liquids. And it makes everything that much more meaningful when you can do it sober and you get closeness with people. And it's better than anything else than I can even think of, better than drinking. But the question was about confidence in alcohol.
Confidence and self-love.
I mean, you gotta earn it back, because when you get sober, you're starting at the bottom, and every choice you make is going to get you to where you want to be, as long as it doesn't involve your drink or drug. And it's kind of like starting over, which is a wonderful chance. Not everybody gets one, but I honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's the best thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Did you guys elaborate anything there?
Yeah. I think one of the most important things we have to do is make that amends to ourselves. And I didn't love myself. I didn't. I was going to tell you guys before, I'm a crier and I get emotional. The first few years of sobriety, I cried a lot, and I did not love myself. I didn't know what that meant. And so how can you give away something you don't have? Yeah. And so for me, it was a multifaceted amount of actions. I couldn't just go to a 12-step program. I was in counseling. I needed the spiritual side of it. And what I learned so much about myself, and I said earlier, I was 45 years old and I was an adolescent, an infant really, in self-care actions. And so I didn't know how to deal with anger, resentment, fear, I had, you learn through counseling things like fear of abandonment. And it goes back to childhood things. I had parents that divorced really young. And it just, those things that I was never really given tools to deal with emotional life on life's terms. And, you didn't get that job, or maybe, I did. I mean, I had so many successes, college, marriage, first home, kids. And I developed this sense of that I am in control, and everything I do is I'm responsible for that. And that was part of my addiction, was always chasing happiness. I was always the next people, place, thing, or event. I was finally going to make it. And those things would happen. And guess what? I really wasn't happy. And those things can be moments of happiness, but not true peace and contentment. That learning to conflict resolve, deal with your anger, fear, all these, different emotions that we have, that was what I was lacking. And so today I can sit and really share this story with anybody and then help them, give them tools to in turn do the same thing in their life. Because, like Marc said, I did not love myself, and alcohol gave me a way to escape from that and not have to worry about who loves me and who doesn't. You would forget, and then I would black out and wake up the next morning with all the guilt and all the remorse of like, I did it again. Yeah. And not to be in that cycle. When Adam was talking about that cycle, man, I can remember promising myself I'm not going to drink tonight, and then do it anyway, and then wake up the next morning underneath my desk, maybe there was vomit there. Maybe, I ruined a lot of laptops spilling alcohol because I would pass out literally and knock my drink on there. It was a cycle of just madness, and you don't love yourself. You don't. So we have to relearn to do those things. And I think the most important amends we got to make is that one to ourselves. We did a lot of damage. And so it takes time to recover that.
And forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah. Confidence I had none of. Like you guys are talking and I'm like, yep, that's me. So part of the process of gaining it back, was making amends to myself for things like Peter was saying. And I had to start, I always talk about getting the shovel out because there was a lot that I had to dig through. So I had to take care of all that before I could even get to building something new. And that the process of building took four realms that I think about. And if I don't, they're never in complete balance. It's impossible to maintain complete balance. But I think of physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not focusing on all four of those things each day, then I'm going backwards. Mm-hmm. So fitness, as you guys know, is a huge part of my life. It's what I do for a living. It's one way I can fulfill my purpose, which builds confidence for me and just life in general. The intellectual side is, so I geek out about studies about the human body and how to build muscle and how, the topic about, in a really controversial topic in fitness is about the GLP-1s. So think of like your Ozempics and stuff like that for weight loss. So I read all these studies, and I've structured my Instagram to be not doom scrolling, but educational. So based on the places I follow, they're credible. So I've built learning into my day. I drive an hour one way to work. So basically I use that time. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts, instead of just jamming out to music all the time, which is my old MO. So that's the intellectual side. The emotional side has been building relationships where anybody I share with, like, you are all part of my support group. So part of my story. You're now part of my network, my safety net. So I share openly, being vulnerable because it strengthens my network. And just part of that emotional maintenance is sharing my emotions, how I feel, right? So let's just talk about the podcast, the emotions that come into it. You know, the more I speak in public, the easier I feel, less anxious coming into it. But you still get those butterflies, right? And then it's almost, I don't want to say it's like a high, but when I finish it, it's like, that was awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So just talking about my emotions like I just did throughout the day. I talk with my clients, I talk with my wife, talk with anybody who wants to listen.
Yeah.
And then the spiritual side is meditation and prayer, right? So regardless of your religion, there's talking and listening, basically. So those are parts of my daily maintenance and kind of what's helped me build confidence back into my life. I have a question for you, though. Maybe we can talk another time.
Totally. Ask me a question.
So I always question, like, there's this, it's a teeter-totter between confidence and arrogance. So what's the best way to be, like, confident and humble at the same time? Like, this is, I feel like, a whole conversation because there's so many layers to it. And this is something I always am conscious about because I don't want to be perceived as arrogant. And I feel like I struggle a little bit with my confidence because I don't want to come across like overly confident or I don't know. You guys know what I mean?
Yeah. It's that easy question. Always that question: am I humble or not? You know, and what does that look like? Is it my will or my higher power's will? Like, am I confident or am I cocky? You know, I think cocky's more like, you know, pride, lost all those, you know, seven lovely sins. Yeah. So great question.
And that's like,
well, I'll answer that for you guys just really quickly is, so first off, I'll say just like level space of, when I think of you guys, I've never thought of any of you guys as cocky. And the reason why is because you are willing to be honest. So people that are cocky are the ones going around kind of pompous about certain things, but not telling the real story. Like, I'm confident, I have all of this, but not sharing the story behind it. All of you guys walk around, you're at a different level, but you're also not willing to say, like, this is how I got there. Right? Cocky would be is that you're never willing to share that, right? And the difference of why you guys care so much is because you had your journey to find self-love. You never had that at one point. You all were struggling with it. And I think people that, you know, come out of the womb just never being told, you know, that they have to like work towards something, they're the more of the cocky ones. You've all had to work towards something. You all had to work towards being sober. Right. And so it's giving yourself that credit and also just being very, you use the word humble, but I think of humble as you're vulnerable, you're kind, you're caring, and you show up for yourself and other people. Cocky people aren't showing up for other people. Like, and all of you guys show up and people look to you as role models because they're like, that's what I want to inspire to be. But they're not inspiring to be because you're not billionaires that have like jet setting off, right? They want to be like you because you're honest, confident people because you work towards that. So does that help a little bit with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I think all of you guys have done that. I mean, even you guys sharing your stories, like had I not known like all these things, I would have been like, I'm bringing on 3 confident guys who like, right? But I think the reason why I even wanted you guys on this podcast was because I was like, I want the real story because people see you in, you know, we all live in Michigan. People see you in town and think like, oh my gosh, they're just such great people. You are, but you also had to work towards that, right? You had to go through the darkness to get to where you are. And I don't think, like I've said this multiple times, and I think it's getting more open with things, but I love that we're being more talkative about guys with self-love, guys with confidence, like, you know, being married to someone who's always been open towards me around that. It's really opened my eyes to like, these need to be part of conversations. You know, we talk so much about women in those areas, but men struggle too. And it just looks different and you guys hide it more, you know, and in different ways. So anything else you guys would share on that?
No, I think you hit it, you know, and I'm probably a little older than these guys, you know. So
You're young at heart, right?
Right. Well, when you grew up in the 80s, you know, and my parents' age, men did not talk about feelings. They provided, and they had to be strong, and they weren't allowed to cry or be emotional. And so I didn't grow up with those. I mean, I was, you know, kind of a latchkey kid. There was a lot of times, you know, my friends were all the same. We all raced each other, you know, playing outdoors, and we didn't have helmets, and we didn't have all these guided safety helicopter parenting that we see a little bit more of today. And you know, I'm guilty of that a little bit as a parent. So when you grow up without, like I mentioned earlier, any kind of emotional tools to deal with life on life's terms, of course, addiction is a very easy one, whether it's drugs, alcohol, people use sex, they use food. There's no limit to it. Gambling's a big one today. Anything that creates this high that gets you away from your reality, you know, and so we as men, I mean, I feel responsible to help others find tools, and not everybody that I talk to has an active addiction, but everybody can certainly benefit from some type of, let's talk about what self-care is and what is the actual actions that I do, you know, and I talk about those things. So what do I do every morning? I get up, I do a devotion. I read some recovery-related material. I write a gratitude list every single day. It's hard to be resentful when you're being grateful. I journal most days, and then I pray. I am still very active in recovery programs, so I still do that 5 to 7 hours a week. And I work with other men, mentoring them through recovery. And it's just, you know, it doesn't have to be recovery. It can be whatever is important to you in your life and how you can give back. And, you know, as listening to Adam share earlier, I was like, this is what recovery to me is about. Learning from him about what his tools are and how he goes about his day and what he does. That's how I learn, and I take that nugget and I put the little bit of that, and he's in my network now, just like he mentioned that we're in his. And that's the beauty of recovery. It's not a secret. It's not some, you know, recipe that you have to be a certain club to get into. It's available and it's free for everyone, but nobody can make you do it. It's up to you to get to that choice, to surrender, whatever you want to call it, to get there.
Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last 3 to 4 years, I have been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It is just 1 scoop mixed in with water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel energized and ready to take on the day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, plus more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also very simple, and I like simple. I like to drink AG1 first thing in the morning, and that is what is also recommended. I fill up my shaker with extra cold water, add 1 scoop of AG1, shake it up, and I'm ready to go. If I'm running short on time and can't mix my AG1 before heading out, I'll grab a travel pack, and that has been so helpful for all of my travel times. Each is an individual serving of AG1 that's easy to mix on the go, helping ensure I get my daily nutrition no matter what. If there's one product I would recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why I've been partnering with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, let's start with AG1. Try it and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/theconfident. Again, that's drinkag1/theconfident. So check it out.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you bring up, not funny, but like the choice piece, because I think I just pound that in everybody's head that listens to this podcast of like, we have a choice, right? Yep. Like you have a choice of how you live, what you choose. It's not easy, right? Self-love is not easy. Confidence isn't easy. Self-respect isn't easy. deciding to go to the gym versus like sleep in, right? Like all of these decisions that we make throughout the day, like it's a choice that we have to make. And you guys all made that decision 6 to 9 years ago to really change your lives, you know? And you're here now talking about it. And I think that's what people don't see is it doesn't just happen overnight, right? Like you guys went through really crappy years to finally say like enough's enough. And so if I had to ask you guys, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like in 3 words, describe your journey when you started versus 3 words to now, what's the difference?
This isn't totally related, but just listening to you speak there and about making choices, like I know it seems like you have to hit rock bottom to make a chance like this, but you really don't. You know, I've had a few friends that got sober without ruining their lives like I tried to, or millions of other people tried to. It really is a choice. Sometimes it takes us longer than it should to make that choice, but it really is up to you. You don't have to completely ruin your life, your relationship, your career. If you need help to get sober, just start by telling somebody. That really gets the ball rolling.
To elaborate on that too, it made me think about like how does someone know that they have a problem? And, you know, that type of thing. It was a problem for me just going back to the cycles. It was like, back then I didn't want to change. So, the choice, and, you know, makes me think, why is it some people takes going to jail? Why is it some people can, you know, and it would be interesting. I just, you know, philosophically thinking, I'm like, wonder what the differences are, right? So, the 3 words, pain, regret, deceit, for my past, health, gratitude, and love.
Love that. Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
So it's like the darkness of night or the light of day.
Yeah, absolutely. Did yours come to mind?
Yeah. No, this is great stuff. So before it was, fear was my number one. Fear, loneliness, and pain. And I didn't realize, you know, it's easy to go anger was my problem, but a lot of my anger or my emotional response came from fear of financial, fear of abandonment. I didn't want to get divorced. You know, I was a product of divorce as a kid. So today, my words are love. They are connection and relation. I kind of put as one, because when I started relating to people, and that was that connection. And then spirituality is majorly important in what I do every day, because I had to admit that I was powerless. I was powerless over alcohol, but really what I discovered is I'm powerless over to do anything in my life. Right. And without God or whatever your higher power of your choosing, for me, I couldn't do this. And I had to really accept that. And that helped me get out of myself and this whole idea that I'm in charge. So spirituality was really, that's the thing every single day that I open up my life with, is giving it to God and growing that relationship there. And when I got him on my team, there isn't anything we can do.
Yeah.
Right. You know?
Yeah. Same with you. It was like that negative versus positive right now too, right? Anything come to your mind?
Oh, sure. I guess back then it would have been deceit, loneliness, fear. I mean, I could go on. There's hundreds of words I could describe my past with. But these days I try to focus. I mean, God is obviously number one, but the 3 words I would use would be honesty is a big one for me. I got to be honest in everything I'm doing. Humility, not getting too big for my britches, as my mom would used to say to me when I was a kid. And I guess this goes with honesty, but like integrity, like everything you do, make it matter. Like, don't just waste time. Don't just do it because whatever reason, like make it count.
Those are all really good. Yeah. Well, and I think it also shows the journey, right? Like it shows like where, like, you know, and I think we all like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm picturing literally like dark, like a dark color when you guys were saying all of those words. And then I'm picturing like the stepping stones to get there just kept getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And now you're a lighter person for everybody around you. So when you guys think about like how life happens still. Like you guys still have things going on. Like it's not always bright. It's not always perfect. You still have tough days. You still have challenges. Like relationships are tough. Like our careers are all hard. So how do you handle those things now? Because before it was, drinking and, drugs, and obviously probably other things, but like what now? How do you do that?
Well, like what Pete was saying just a minute ago is that, when you got God on your side, anything is possible. And like everything starts and ends with your spirituality and your higher power. And so like, life's going to come at you. Things are going to happen, but if you really do believe in what you believe in, nothing can stop you. As long as you got that on your side and you've proven to yourself that alcohol is not going to help or whatever your vice is, you can literally get through anything. I've not felt one time since I've been sober that I can't do this, like not even once. And my whole life was, I can't do this for 26 years before then.
For you guys?
So I've been a runner. I'm one of the few positive things I had before I quit drinking was running, and it's maintained. And so I love to be outside, and running has gotten harder on my body. So I do a lot more hiking. And one of my best ways to deal with if I've got some situation in my life that's hard, that's overwhelming, that I'm fearful about, I go for a walk in the woods. And I literally, if you run into me out there and you see me talking to myself, I'm praying out loud. And I literally do it out loud. And I pray about all the situation. And then I let it sit and just walk in quiet and like a meditation. And it brings me so much peace. I often find my prayer starts out angry as I'm working through it. And then by the time I get to the meditation part, it's like my higher power is like, okay, I understand. Here's the path to walk through this. And it's, you can almost do a whole podcast on the power of spirituality, because you can pray and you're going to have Santa Claus prayers and hope that they're going to show up. But, one of my favorite sayings I learned in recovery was, faith can move mountains. Don't be surprised when God hands you a shovel. Mm-hmm. You're responsible for the actions. He will determine the outcome. If we just sit on our hands and hope that he's going to make our lives better, it ain't going to happen. That's not how it works. You are responsible for the actions.
Yep.
I love that. Anything for you?
Fitness has been a huge part. Like he mentioned running. For me, it's been weightlifting.
Yeah.
My workout partner from years ago when he passed away was really difficult because that was our, where him and I connected and we joked around. And then with him gone, it was like, it became a place of pain. And that's literally what I use for, and it's not just for like anger, sadness. I say mad, sad, or glad. Because whenever I weightlift, and there's science that backs exercise, not just weightlifting, and the release of endorphins and dopamine, which was what we all chased, getting high. I go through that process, and when I'm done, I feel better.
Yeah.
I just feel better. And so that's a huge component of my life. Physical activity in general, just moving, like he said, walking, that's huge. And for the stuff that, maybe I can't tackle mentally on my own, I talk to my wife. She's, I have the inner circle that I rely on. And then there's literally thousands of people out there that if I picked up my phone and was like, hey, I need to talk about some pretty heavy stuff right now, they would take time for me. I'm certain of it.
That's awesome.
I can guarantee this guy would.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's just knowing that I have that in my pocket.
Yeah.
Just a phone call away. It's that safety net. And then the main thing is not to just know that I have it, but to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to use it.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 last questions because I could probably talk to you guys for another hour, but like time is of the essence on the podcast. So we've been talking for a while, which I love. So so 2 questions. First one, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about or trying to become sober? Or you can flip it, and what advice would you give to someone who has a family member who they see struggling and they don't know what to say or what to do? You can pick either one.
Yeah.
What would you end with?
It's tough because I've had friends and even family members who need help that still won't get it. So there's really nothing you can say to somebody to like make them do it. Unfortunately, they've got to want it themselves. But I try to live as an example. Like I like to draw comparisons between how bad my life was and where I'm at now. I'm free to do whatever I want. Honestly, there's nothing I don't think I can do based on where I'm at in life. So I'd say try it. Like take the leap. You know, it's you won't regret it, honestly. Like if you really give it the full attention it requires, no half measures, go all in, you will be pleasantly surprised with the results, whether that's a 12-step group or IOP or just working with a small group. You know, there's 100 ways to do it, and I won't tell anybody exactly how to do it because what works for me might not work for you. But just get rid of that fear. It's really that fear that keeps us from doing what we want to do in life. And a lot of people won't admit it. But if you speak that out and tell someone or journal it or, you know, confide into somebody and just take that first step, because it's impossible to do on your own, I believe. Like listening to Pete and Adam that's where I heard the voice of God, like through my sobriety. He doesn't just talk to me in my head or anything. It's you listen to other people. And if you're trying to do it on your own or just white knuckle it, it's not going to work out for you. I'll save you the struggle. So yeah, lean on other people, jump in, just do it. Kind of would be my advice.
Yeah. What about you guys to end?
I would find somebody in recovery. And in this day and age with social media, you know, we have a local Facebook page in our community that I see all the time. Either it's a family member looking for somebody or somebody saying, hey, I have got a problem with drinking or drugs and I need to go. The cup of coffee I had with a gentleman that was in recovery saved my life because immediately I felt this connection. When I shared and then he shared back, I understood that he understood. And I could have that same conversation with somebody who wasn't in recovery. And I would be like, you don't understand me. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about that, knowing what it's like, having experienced the desperation that we've each shared today about, our darkest days, that another addict, whether, like I said, alcohol, drugs, sex, food, whatever your thing is, find somebody in that. And if, it's really not hard today with social media and the internet. And that will give you a synopsis of what it's going to take. Because it's, like I said, I go back to everything that I've learned and that I do today, I didn't invent. Somebody else shared it with me and it resonated with me. And like Marc said, my program isn't the same as his, but man, I can relate to everything he says. Yeah.
Love that.
Other people.
What about you, Adam?
So I think about, because like Marc said, you can't make that choice for anybody else. But if I was talking to myself in the using days, one thing I think about is how I felt, and I'm the name of a song comes to mind. It's Terminally Unique, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
I thought I was terminally unique. Like nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows the pain that I felt, in this moment in my life or in this moment of my life. And nobody knows how hard it is to quit using this stuff. And these were all internal, that self-talk that I had. I would say to him, you're not unique. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people that can relate to you. We are more alike than what we think. And just give it a shot. And to the people that love someone who's struggling, sometimes love can actually enable. My mom, she she still cares a great deal about me. She did then, but because of where I was with my using, she was enabling me at times. And, 8.5 years later, she's still like down on herself about it. And that's one of those things that I can't ever erase. It's like burnt into her memory, and it's burnt into who I am now. But I can say, just love from a distance. Sometimes you have to.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are great.
It's tough.
Yeah, I was getting emotional hearing all of those things because obviously, like, I'm married to someone who went through it. I hear you guys and I know what you guys went through, and you just want to be the solution, right? You just want to fix it. You want to make y'all love each other, like love yourself. And I know that it doesn't work that way, but it still doesn't hurt my soul, to hear when people don't love themselves. And so you guys actually answered my last question I was going to ask was resources and what should someone do? And it is really like finding people in recovery. There's what did you say?
Just the community, sober community.
Yeah, like you guys, and we'll put all of these in the description too, and I'll get some from you guys. But there's so many things in local communities too of people that want to support you. It's just taking that first step of being vulnerable and asking for help is kind of like the synopsis that I kind of took from today. So just thank you guys so much for being on this podcast and sharing your story with so many individuals who are going to be able to hear this, and to the audience. Just thanks for hanging out with us. And thank you guys again.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast, all around part 2 of 2 about becoming sober and the journeys of Marc, Adam, and Peter, 3 individuals who I just adore. Their takeaways were amazing. Their stories were amazing, and I feel very inspired. I think it's also really great as someone who is married to Marc, one of the guests, is to also remind myself that they're all on their journey. I can support and I can love as much as possible, but we all have a choice in how we choose and how we live. And all of them have been sober between 6 to 9 years. It's an incredible, inspiring thing. And for any of you out there that are struggling or needing support, please check out the show notes as we have some different resources for you. And also know that I am always here to support anybody that needs it. I will get you in contact with however I can support you. And we're all in this together. So continue to spread love and kindness to everybody that you meet. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget to take care of yourself. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Confident Podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, head over to leadconfidently.org for today's show notes along with discounts to our services. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at The Confident Podcast. Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps more people discover the show. And hey, if you're feeling inspired to dive deeper, let's connect. You can find me on Instagram at Lisa Tarkington Official. Drop me a message and let's explore how I can support your journey to confidence and leadership. Remember, you have the power to choose confidence every single day. Keep showing up, keep striving, and keep believing in your potential. I'm cheering you on, and I'll see you next time.